Hey everybody, I think this is working. It does look like we have volume. This is a little bit hastily thrown together stream because I took a nap. We had a bunch of stuff to do, and the latest GameNight had some issues with, not with our stuff. Right now, GameGenic is our sponsors, and they have music for their spots that uses a different service than, like right now we're using, we use, I never remember the name, we use Epidemic Sound. Why can't I remember that? So we have to have a code that gets that audio is approved, and so we don't get copyright strikes. Well, we got a copyright strike, even though I had specifically, done everything exactly the way I normally do, and so we had to get a. I was up late working on it for other reasons, as far as uploading it, right? It takes for rendering and uploading. We don't generally wait till the last minute to do things, but we have had a really busy week. We were away, and hey Dim, hey there's Scott. Oh yeah, right. It's not a strike. Copyright claim. Scott's 100% right. Yeah, so they had there was a claim, and they put in GameNight puts in a ticket to just get it repaired. You know, get it not repaired, but get it taken care of. And so we did that, and it showed up, thankfully. I actually woke up this morning early after being up late to just re-upload it and go for it again and see if it would work. And then as I was doing all of that, and I think I ended up using one of those sync codes and essentially kind of wasting it. Because once it's used, you can't use it again. And as I was getting it finished, the approval went through. I needed to be patient, but when you're scheduling the stuff, you have to make sure everything's ready to go. So I was up trying to fix all that and get the social media and stuff programmed, which we learned more about we use some software to do our scheduled social media stuff. And it's actually not, they made some changes that I thought was going to ruin it. And it's not great. We do have some issues with it, but it's still fine. It helps because, we don't, not that social media is as strong as it was. Twitter is not as great, or X isn't as good as it used to be. So I have been working on some stuff. I'll show a few things I worked on this weekend. I was happy to have had a little bit of, I don't remember whether it was, I think it was Saturday. We filmed one day last week. I think we filmed on Saturday when, so we usually, well, not usually, we like to have Scott join us on the streams, on the film days to help keep an eye on stuff. But we have been filming on a lot of Saturdays. And Saturday is sometimes when he is, his game group is together, so, and they go long. So we didn't do that, but we filmed with Mike. Oh, and Brian Yu. That was great. Why I couldn't remember Brian Yu, but it was awesome. And we're filming again this next weekend with a couple of other people that haven't been on too much lately. And then Aaron is also in the mix, but his father's health is not doing great, and so that may not even. That's another date that may not happen. That before we go to BGG Con, but we're sure hopeful it will, and I hope his father gets better. Anyway, so I worked on a Captain Marvel. Let's see if I can cut to the table here. I did not. Let me see if I can do this right. There we go. There we go. I'm learning. I mean, I know a lot of the little stuff that we use, but I still have problems. I wonder if the music seems like it might be a little loud. No, it's me. I don't. You can let me know if it's too loud. Hey, David, how you doing? Yeah. So the copyright claims are not a big deal, but what happens is if we don't get that taken care of, then the video goes out with a bunch of ads, like compulsory ads, and they're very, because you can't even adjust where they're at, and so it's really, really, especially since it's a sponsored show, it's really frustrating. Thankfully, it went together live, and it was great. That was a really fun episode of. Although I think it was the last game we played of the day. So lately, I've been putting up videos of where it's the last game we played. So. Some of us might be a little tired, namely me. Hi, Risto Pisto, how you doing? We have, I painted, what did I actually work on? I think I showed this is not last weekend, but I worked on, you can zoom in a wee bit on it. I think I did this before we were away we were gone a couple weeks, see the eclipse and stuff. So this is Wasp, and she turned out pretty cool. I actually did the visor and her eyes behind the visor, which I had never done on the other one. I will do it now. Hey Zambro01, thanks for the follow. Busy but good. Yeah, we're busy too. Wow, the audio is terrible. I don't know how it sounds. The music, I don't know how it sounds on your end. Let me see if I can refresh that. Although Derek was trying to do that the other day, and it did not work for him. So. That's Stream Elements. So I mean, I don't know. Let me see if that'll reload. Although I may work automatically. I don't know. He does all kinds of stuff and knows more about it than I do. It's not like we'll get a ton of them. And BGG Spring, absolutely. We are looking forward to that too. That's what we're really getting prepared for. We're trying to, well, you know, we don't have so spring is a big one for us, but we actually have a relatively unencumbered summer until Gen Con. So that's interesting. We are not going on one of the cruises this year, which is a little sad because one of the cruises is on the Atlantic in the area of, you know, like Nova Scotia and stuff like that. So fall, is it a fall color one? Yeah, that's fall color one. And then the other one is Europe, which would be amazing. So it starts in Italy, but that is just for us. We've had a very busy year last year. We've had a relatively busy year this year. I didn't know someone could have copyright using Epidemic Sound. It is not Epidemic Sound actually though. So Epidemic Sound, you can have a problem, but this was because GameGenic uses a different service for their audio. And so it's not a terrible thing. Epidemic has been pretty good for us. It is a little choppy. Yeah, I don't know what we can do on that, Scott. Maybe if you want to log in and look, I don't know. Well, it seems, well, this audio is probably okay. Maybe my audio's choppy too. I mean, my video's choppy or something. Let's see here. It's okay down there. Part of the issue was I think we had the cameras were not set properly, and I actually had to. In other words, I have so we have boxes that are attached to the run of the audio of the HDMI cables to the machine that we were streamed from, and it has to be disconnected when we do the and plus it's two different streams. So when I do my stream here, I have to switch to another set of cables. Then when we stream standard GameNight, we have another set of cables, and then when we film, nothing needs to be attached. So sometimes that is the issue. I hope it doesn't really be a problem. Rapid blinking. It does happen with two streams, but Scott, it's happened regardless without the two streams too. So I don't know. Or rapid blinking. Okay. Well, let's see. I can always just reset this camera. That would be the one. If it's me, this one here. Let's see. I usually can see it on the software here. I don't see it right now. But anyway. So anyway, I was working on Wasp, and it turned out pretty good. This one's actually quite a bit different. I don't think I have the other one right here. Actually, I think she's in the box, the game box, but it turned out really nice. I'm very happy with that one. I then also worked on Captain Marvel, and I'm pretty darn happy. The face is not done. I'm not happy with the lips. I was just trying to do a slight color, and I don't know what. But otherwise, I think it turned out pretty good. I do have some little spotlight details that I want to do, kind of like I did on Moon Knight, which I really loved how Moon Knight turned out. You can't really see it. I did all these little effects on here that, you know, add to the look of the thing. So it's not really terrible if it's not really important that if it matches. Let me also get something else out that we will paint today, because I don't think I'm going to do, I don't know if I'll finish Punisher, but I will get close. So let's see. Maybe Blade would be fun. So I'm, you know, doing twos. I'm doing some Friends minis. Everybody assumes it's all these. I would do all these too. I'd love to do three. It's challenged me, right? I'm having fun trying to do two and have them look relatively similar. I've done that kind of stuff since high school, where I would do two paintings that were intended to be identical, just to experiment and learn to see if I can replicate the technique while I'm doing both of them. Not later, because I guarantee it will always look different if I paint it later. But yeah, it's a lot of minis. So I have to get them done before, I don't have to get them done, but I'd like to get the Marvel United first set done by June, or probably not exactly in June since it's already May now, the 2nd, but soon into June. And I think I can get there. Been working on, not as much as I'd like, but working on stuff, and I've been digging through the Kickstarter, the box, right? The big box with the stretch goals, and so these were Punisher. Hilariously, I did it from memory, and meaning I was looking. I was writing when I first did these videos. I said it was Cable, and then I got the minis out. I'm like, oh, come on, these are Punisher. I don't know comics that well, but I know that for sure. But yeah, they're a little different because the primer is challenging, right? I kind of waffle back and forth between, I want them to be brighter. They're comic characters, right? But then I also tend to go for a little tiny bit of realism, but even then I don't know that it's accurate. But doing the zenithal shading is a challenge. And these were not done at the same time either. I don't think I've primed any pairs of minis yet. That'll be the next thing I do, because what I've been doing is doing the stuff that I'd already primed to do on the other ones for my own. But I'm real happy. There's been some really cool progress, and I've been getting close to getting certain things. Now, I haven't painted Thanos again, or actually there's a few of the first series of the expansions that I have not done yet. But I'll get to them. So let's see here. Let's start off with Cable. I need to Cable. Once again, Punisher. I have a picture that I've been using. Oh, maybe that's it? No. I have so many browsers open. So we're using new software to actually connect to the PC that we, no, that isn't it, that we use to connect to the PC that we use to stream from, which is pretty great, but like it's not 100%, boy, I guess I don't have it. And so I have like multiple logins going on, and so Chrome is okay, but it's not wonderful for that. Let's see if I can get on the right drive. I always have this problem. Hey, I can't. Once again, I gotta log in. Man, I'm not in love with the Macs. I don't know. So let me log in. It should be this one. So I have multiple Google Drives, and so it's not easy for whatever reason. It doesn't stay logged in so that I can easily switch between them, and that's a pain in the rear end. Oh, there it is. Okay. So that what I basically do is have different browser instances, not tabs, to do that, and that seems to work better. I think I forgot that I had done that. So let's go to find the Punisher or Punisher. It's also weird that this has nothing to do with the Mac. That the naming, like for whatever reason, something has changed some of the images. So I saved all the images from Kickstarter, so that and at the Big Child Creative website and their Facebook, they have like some larger images sometimes. So I save all those for reference, so I don't have to stress about it. But for whatever reason, even though they're named, I believe correctly, they when I sort them alphabetically, they don't always come out in the proper order. Boy, Cable has some serious 5 o'clock shadow, so I guess some of that's valid. Don't have enough here from his chin. I don't feel I'm still zoomed in enough. Somebody was telling me they felt we zoomed in too much, but I would like to try to actually work closer to the table surface to help stabilize my wrists and hands. So there's, this is fabric, and I used an actual darker paint for that. And so for the leather, well, I'm imagining it's a leather jacket. I'm going to use one that I use a lot, which is the Basilicanum Gray. It's a lighter color that is not, wow, that is not it. It's a lighter color. You can see here that it's got a lot of at least gray pigment in it. But I feel like, you know, leather's got more reflection, so it's not going to be as black. At least, like, I have a leather jacket, black leather jacket, and it's not super strong, whereas a black fabric will absorb the light more slightly, depending on the fabric, right? If it's super sheeny, got a sheen to it, it will do the same kind of thing, but probably more intense, but more of a contrast between the light and the dark compared to leather. So I like to use the black Basilicanum Gray for that kind of stuff. It's a weird thing that who knows whether I'm right on it or not. But I also tend to thin it a little tiny bit to get it so that, and I use a vortex mixer. It does a pretty good job of mixing the pigment in. You have to really get it to mix in if you want it to look correct. Now I use the Basilicanum Gray for other things too. These bases, I thin it out and use it as to make these pavers, you know, darker. And so, you know, sometimes I generally like the color to be on the miniature so that you focus more on the miniature, but sometimes there's some interesting ground stuff that I want to feature as well. So then I will, I mean, for example, I put the energy splash here from Iron Man. And then of course the quarter on Ant-Man. But I need to you know, be sparing with the color, I feel. So we'll see how that goes. First thing though, I will put a little bit of the, actually I'll put a little bit of the color in first. If I do that, it means that I will not pollute the contrast medium, which, hey, I'm running out of. Let's use a little bit of the one, for whatever reason, this one was left out, like open one weekend, and it has changed the sheen of it. So I'll put a little bit of that in so it will have a almost, I mean, you have to varnish it all anyway, or you should. Oof, that's probably too much. And I won't use that much. So yeah, if you get that first and then get your color, this is the medium that the paint is made out of. So it won't pollute it. It might lighten it a very slight amount. But I did, of course, get it all over the place because it's on the tip of the brush here. But that's the way to do it so that you don't, I mean, you could get a little color in your technical medium and it probably won't make that big of a difference, but I'd prefer not to. What I may do is use this same color after I paint the jackets to then put a little bit more contrast medium in it and then do the ground as I was explaining. Oh, one thing I meant to mention is on the ground here are bullet casings, right? Shells. And so, or shotgun. I'm not really quite sure why, because he's got a big gun here that does not use that, but I will probably put a little bit of brass or something down there for those. Okay. But yeah, don't get the impression that Epidemic sounds bad. I really love them. I wish that we could get these other guys to use it, but that is how it is. So I need to change glasses. I realized I need new glasses. It won't, oof, these are too heavy. It won't be for this stuff, but it's in real life. I'm just having like, wow, I can't see that. So it's been a long time now. I think it's been 5 years since I changed glasses. I usually do them more often than that, but I didn't go during the pandemic when I probably should have. And yeah, it's pretty thick still. But let's see how it goes. No, I didn't use any of the other contrast media. Or no, I did. I mixed both. I've been paying a lot of attention to, like, I need to get standard acrylics, not just the contrast ones, which I love, but I've been doing more and more, kind of moving away from my first plan, which was to just do the contrast paint so that I can convince people that this ways to do this stuff quickly and get really nice results, and you still get that, but I want to do a little bit more detail on them than I have been doing. Although one of the ones recently that I had done that did that, it didn't come out quite. I wasn't satisfied, and I don't think it's ultimately necessarily my painting. I also think it was just like a color scheme I didn't really care for. And you should be free to do that, right? I don't feel that, I'm sorry, it's getting out of focus. I don't feel that you have to be, you know, bound to the color schemes they did on the campaign. But here's the deal. I just like using them so that I will go faster. I don't want to spend the time, unless I'm you know, building some sort of, I don't even know if I really care about it then anymore, a chapter, a Space Marine chapter, which I've never really painted a full army of Space Marines. I've decided that I want it, when I do want it, I want it to be black, which I think is a terrible idea. I have a lot of Black Templar stuff, and black is rough, so I don't have to stick to that. I don't think I have any of the transfers or anything like that, but I bought like the Black Templar army. So you know what, that would be fabric inside there, so I probably should do a different, I'll do it black, but do the other color inside. Although you lose the contrast, so, and the collar would be leather. I'll just do it anyway. This is where I tend to go the deep dive, where I worry about stuff like that when you don't really need to. You just want to try to get right to painting. That's the real thing. If I'm trying to get stuff done, anytime I spend too much time thinking about it, I'm not painting, right? So that's an important thing to really think about if you're really wanting to make progress. Yeah, so with Epidemic Sound, you don't have to do anything as long as you're paying. When you post, as long as you're subscribed or whatever, how the service is, your video's fine. And after the fact, if you stop the service, well, once you've uploaded the video, they don't care. It's just if you're going to continue trying to use their music, then they want you to make sure that you're continuing to pay. So they're really flexible, and for us, they have a pretty decent library of music. And I put this mix together a couple years ago, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. So I get to hear stuff again, and I basically start at the beginning, and there's like 9 or 10 hours of music. So I probably should just jump ahead and try something else, but it doesn't bother me. Now that is a cuff. Do you think that's a watch band or something? It must be, or something. Doesn't do it on the other side. Although no, there it is there too. So maybe it's just a shirt. But yeah, that's the thing. I really don't want to. I've been painting, so I painted some of these Stormcast Eternals. Why I remember that name instantly off the top of my head, because I can never remember it. You know, I followed the example basically, and I'm just happy, and they look great. I am tired of painting the gold and blue, but I'll get back to it and paint some more. I don't have a ton of. I have a lot of 40K stuff. I don't have a ton of either Warhammer Underworlds or Age of Sigmar, another name I don't remember very often. But yeah, this is great. Actually, it looks like I'm using more paint than I thought, so probably mixed enough. So it looks like the collars are... See, now that to me looks pretty good. It's not so black. I'm not really getting a lot of the shading through, so it's probably a little too intense. You don't really want to start touching the paint after you painted it. It could tear the membrane of the dry paint, and it can really ruin the finish, but I just felt it was wet enough there that it's something I should have done before it started to dry. You want to get the pooling so it's not a problem. Um, Goodness, I just keep doing it in the exact same spot. One of the things you can do if you feel like, so for example, when I did Kingpin, I painted his, I think I did anyway, either it was before that or after that mini, after I painted, after it was white, I put a varnish over it so that I could do the pinstripes quickly. Wow, I just keep hitting this thing. Quickly, and then fix the problem if I, felt I had a problem with them. And it's really great. And you probably should do things like that when you're working on, I don't know, the face can be something where you're trying to do something and you mess it up. How did I do on her? Oh, that's right, her eyes are just white. I'm not even sure about that. I might want to do a little bit more to those. But yeah, it's fun. Are you looking forward to Stone? I want to see what that one is as well, yeah. Hey, Gare. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Space Marine chapters can be too much work painted a few at my time. Yeah, I've only done some. I did some, I've done a full set. I haven't seen them in a long time, but then this was the ones I was following up on with Space Hulk. And they're fun. Terminators are neat because they're so gigantic. I would like to paint a Marines chapter at some point in time, but I have like an Eldar army that I started, and I was working on the they're all called Eldari. And I also worked on the Dark Eldar, which are called Drukhari now. For Nikki, that was her army. She got her army from everybody that did not want. So this is 3rd edition, which was, for us, was 2020, I believe. And everybody did not want those minis. And so Nikki's like, I'll take those. So I ended up painting them for her. Wow, so there's like maybe too much paint on that primer. Because it's very shiny. Now, I sometimes use acrylic artist inks. What is it called, the brand? I got a giant bottle of it, so you can tell I don't use it enough. Daler Rowney. It's pretty great stuff, but for me it tends to, I think what I'm doing is over applying it, and it gets a little shiny. And so you have to do something like this, which is, I don't believe I did that, but maybe I did. You have to give it a couple coats sometimes, which is frustrating if you're going for a lighter color, a lighter tone. Because acrylics, when you paint more generally, unless you're hoping for some transparency, more coats actually are good when you want to cover, have full good coverage and solid color. But with the contrast paints, they tend to get darker and darker as you put them on, especially if you're doing the method I'm doing here, where you are using a little bit of the medium to make it a lighter color, where it's not quite as intense. It's still pretty strong. Yeah, this is the same, and there's no way, unless I was trying to, I do think I might have airbrushed both of these in the Zenithal part after I'd done one to like fix it. I don't know if it was Punisher here, but I do find that in general, all the contrast paints and the tiny bit of speed paints experience that I've had do a pretty darn good job with their respective mediums. I have not actually used the medium on the contrast, the speed paints, because I don't have that. But with the contrast paints, it's been great, and it really does a nice job. With quick work, you can really get some nice results, and doing it with, as I've done here with the Zenithal undercoating, is really, really great. It really does a nice job, gives you some fantastic results just very simply. Here I am trying to get something that will probably never be seen. But it's really up to you how much. Wow, I have really burned through the paint here. how much you want to put into it. Like you can, again, that's what this looks really nice, and but I still have a little bit more I'd like to do to it. So yeah, I've been really thinking about the paint. So I started buying a bunch of the Pro Acryl from Monument Hobbies, and I like their paints a lot. But they're not local, right? There's one store kind of in our area, which is not that close, 45 minutes away probably. Maybe a little bit less time if it's an easy day, traffic-wise. But not close enough for me to just go and buy them. So that's part of what's where it's trying to figure out what to buy. We just don't actually have a lot. So ultimately it means basically just stay with Games Workshop, because they're definitely more around, the Citadel paints. But I don't, wow, I am out of the paint. I don't love their paints. I mean, I know I've watched plenty of videos where people are comparing them, and they do a pretty good job, but they're really quite more expensive. I mean, these paints, at least in our area right now, are $8 or $7.80 a bottle. But like, I can go get them. We have a shop nearby that carries GW stuff, and they charge more for the paints even. You know, it's a small shop. They're just trying to stay alive. Woof, I should have waited to get on that edge. Let me try to make the color real quick. He said confidently, hopefully bring more into the hobby. Lauren, oh yeah. We'll see how that goes with the show. There was a big controversy because I guess they've had announced that there's always been female custodies, which I think is cool. I'm not married to the lore, but we were talking to a friend about it today, and you know, his thing was like, just, you don't have to play with everything. You know, you don't. It's not. I don't know. It's funny. And he said he thought that they'll all be buying those miniatures anyway, once it, you know, because they're in it. I really can't. I have far too many minis. Far too many minis. So I can't really. I don't want to buy more. Hey, Fabio. Yeah, the 40K show could be cool. We'll see how it goes. Again, you know, like you said, if they get the lore right, you kind of want it to be. You don't want it to be too different. We just started watching Fallout, which I never played any of the games, so it's all new to me. But I feel that it's a pretty cool show. Nikki's the TV watcher, and she's like, do you still want to watch it? I mean, maybe because she wants to continue. We've only watched the first one, but I'm cool with watching it. My problem is I get impatient, and that was a long episode. I think the first one's like an hour and 15 minutes long. I mean, that's not really long. I watch movies too, you know. But I think we were sitting down to do something else, and it kind of, you know, had it on my mind. I believe I was working on like proxying video or preparing a project or something. So I walk away, and that drives Nikki crazy, but I don't have to see everything. I can still hear what's going on. But I think she's hopeful that I will watch it sooner. We did finish the Bad Batch last night, which is a bummer. We like that show. Nikki really likes it. So I'm not really I guess maybe they just didn't have more to tell, or they wanted to go on to something else story-wise. And so it was, I don't know, it was sort of like, oh, really? Do you need to end it? But because our assumption was what was going to happen was something entirely different, which is fine. I don't like getting too married to what I hope for and stuff like that, because more often than not, we'll be disappointed at the changes. Wow, it is really maybe not enough paint in here of the pigmented paint. So you can see in here, I didn't do a very good job of getting under the coat there with the the primer, but you put your color on it, it won't be too bad. His hand has a little bit of color too, of the blue. So what the good thing about it is if you're going to go with the way Big Child Creative does these, they actually have like blue, like OSL happening, colors coming from the side or something. And I can just say that that's what I was doing, but that's not really it. Hey, let's see here. I played the Fallout 3 and New Vegas in the current one. Lots of Easter eggs. See, that's where we won't get the fun for that, since we don't know the show or the game. But Scott loved it. He has. I don't think he might have finished it. I think all the episodes came out at once, so you know it's like one of those deals where you can burn through it really quick. We try not to do that as much, although if we have the free time, and during the pandemic we had the free time, we would do the whole thing. When it was, I think in the summertime of 2020, we watched the entirety of the Star Wars stuff, everything, all the movies that we could think of, that we remembered, and then the TV animated shows and stuff like that, and the TV shows that were out at the time, in chronological order. So that was interesting. So there's a color from, I should see if we can get it now. I looked for it after Essen, but a color from Vallejo in their Express colors. I really like it. It's kind of a blue, it's called Space Gray or something like that, or Spaceship Gray or Starship Gray. When I looked for it, when I got home, I'm like, well, that doesn't even exist. And it didn't occur to me that, because Sebastian, our friend Sebastian, had picked it up at Spiel. And so what the deal was is he got a new color. And that stuff is hard to find for me, so I'm going to have to order it. We don't have, I mean, I can understand. There's also the Too Thin Coats paints, which look pretty good too. And we do have, near us, we have, sort of near us, also probably, it's probably a good distance less, but it's still far. We have a place called Geeky Tees, and they carry that stuff. I didn't realize that that stuff was distributed by Asmodee in the United States. So that would be gettable. We kind of go over to that area. We have one of our favorite pizza places over there, so we might go over there more often. The problem is we tend to go to the pizza place if we fly out of that airport nearby there. We go there before or after the flight if it's open. But boy, we love that pizza place. Let me look at the other jacket and let this dry, because I'm gonna just mess up things, I think. So it looks a little different, you know, I mean, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but this, for me, looks more like leather. Now, what I should do is do some little touch-ups that will make it have some, like, glare, you know, little bright spots. Well, who knows? You may not be doing this night. Now, there still would be some light that might cause a little bright spot on the jacket with a light nearby or something like that. All these look kind of post-apocalyptic, so I don't know when this stuff is happening. But yeah, what I'll do is I can go in after and smooth out any of the coffee staining a little bit with a thinned down version of the paint, and it generally looks pretty good. This is not so great here. I wonder what I did there. It does seem a little too, but maybe it was just too much paint. It might have gotten a little sheen to it from being just far too much paint. Okay, he looks pretty good there. I do like I don't know if it's too dark on your end, but I like it. It feels more like leather. I don't know, it's a weird observation thing, whether I'm actually correct or not. But man, I love that basilicanum gray. It's really, I wonder if there's an equivalent in in the speed paints. That's part of the issue. Like, I don't think that I would ever be able to go to like one or the other and any paints. But I would like to get a good base set, and I may just end up going with the Pro Acryl. The problem is, again, it's pretty far away. That does carry some of the stuff. Hilariously, Scott has a great store nearby. They actually are the official store at the conventions. Usually, I don't think they were at fall because they had something else going on, but they were saying they're going to be there. That's Common Grounds, Common Ground Games, or maybe it's Grounds. And they carry a lot of stuff. They have definitely GW, a very large selection of the Pro Acryl. I keep trying to say Army Painter. And they do have Army Painter stuff, and I think they had the speed paints. I don't know if they're going to have the War Paint Fanatics, War Paint Fanatics or whatever. Those look good. A friend of ours is a representative for them. Of course, he's going to say that it's good, regardless. And he felt that they're good stuff. So, but I really don't want them to send. Not that he offered, but I don't want them to send the paints because I just don't have the space for any kind of set. I just want to get like. I might even just go for one of the tiny sets that they have that have like 25 paints or something like that, just to maybe get a. So, for example, one of the things I know that people have not loved on those new paints is the reds, and that's a bummer. So, I was saying that Starship Gray, I would love to use it for the gun. I may have to make my own with a mix of maybe the Basilicon Gray thinned down with a slight blue. I do love this Aethermatic blue. I've used it on everything. Hey, do I have half a bottle? No, I still have more than half a bottle. I bought this bottle 2019, and I use it all the time. I mean, that's this blue here. I use it all the time. These paints go a long ways. So $8 is truly not that bad when you really think about it for his amount. I feel like the contrast paints last me longer than the standard paints. But I mean, if you're thinning the paints like you should, standard acrylics, then they'll last you a while. But yeah, we have, I'm excited though. We just got back from Dallas and I want to go back. We have some stuff that we want to do. We're not going to have much time this time. Actually, we won't be going, we'll go a little bit early to Dallas before Gen Con. We'll go for a few days, at least a few days before the convention, and then I think we go directly home. Nikki's birthday is like Sunday of the con. Our birthdays are always during con birthdays. My birthday's almost always either just before or during BGG Con, and Nikki's is always during Gen Con. Or just before, maybe. Feels like it's almost always during. I'm looking forward to both, though. So it's been weird. We don't really know what's going on with games, like releases. I hope there's more cool stuff out there that we're just not seeing. I mean, there's plenty of awesome, larger games. But that was another conversation. So we met with Nick Murphy today, and they're getting ready to move up north in a little over a month, I think, maybe sometime in June. And so, which is a bummer because we work with them, but it's gonna be a bit of a challenge. And we're all so busy we didn't get together and do stuff as much as we'd like, but I wish we had because they're fun and I really like them. But anyway, we were talking about the Kickstarter and encouraging large-scale games, and just not potentially liking some of them. Now, we played. I don't know how large it is ultimately, but it seemed like a pretty big package. We played Unsettled, which Scott didn't care for. Doesn't mean he hated it or anything. He just felt it wasn't what he wanted. I think is what the deal is. But he did not want to play with us. He's like leaving it for us to to form our own opinion about, because he had played it previously. But we played it with Matthew Monin, and we enjoyed it. I felt it ended up going a little too long, but we played one of the expansion scenarios, and wow, I just touched that. Great. What the heck did I do here? It's tore through. Maybe that softened it and I touched it. Ugh. Where though? I don't even see it. Did I touch it? Who knows? But yeah, so things were a little bit different in that scenario than some of the others, which is cool because it means we can maybe come back to it. But it's a cool one, and it sure looks gorgeous. It's the Orange Nebula. And Orange Nebula is the people that did our BGG rebranding 5 years ago, which is cool. I think they did a nice job. Okay, well that looks cool. Now what are his boots? They're tactical boots maybe. Huh. What am I gonna do on that? So we got leather straps, I'd say that's what that is, so I'll paint those with that. Now I'm once again out of paint. Thinking I went too overboard and I did not. Yeah, it's funny, I feel you shouldn't buy too many paints. I have too many. Regardless, I don't have all of the Citadel speed paint, contrast paints, but I have a lot of them. They sent me, we were doing some stuff and they asked if I wanted to check out, and I painted the minis. I would like to play the game, but this is a year and a half ago. I said, well, I would love to paint these things. And like, oh, well, we have the new colors. And I wasn't even fishing for that, but ultimately I was really happy because they gave them all to me of the new stuff. And so, oh, there's probably that paint right there. They gave me all the new stuff, which I got to try it all. Like, I was more particular about what I bought on the first wave. But, you know, they have 60-some colors, but I believe the Army Painter is like 80 or something. I don't know. It's a lot. The nice thing about Army Painter, though, is they do have sets. They have sets with a lot of color, and ultimately, if you're starting out or you don't want to really put too much thought into it, again, get faster to get to painting, the better, and maybe maybe just get a set of colors, you know, and go for it. Army Painter has always done that. Now, I know a lot of people don't care for the Army Painter previous line. I don't have any of those paints. The only thing I have are, I don't think, the only thing I have are the some of the shades, quick shades, and I wish I had them all. But yeah, those are awesome, actually, I think. I thought they were, in my opinion, I liked them more than I liked some of the shades from GW. They've changed them again, so I do like the previous iteration of the shades from GW, but the new ones seem fine. I actually have been using specifically like the Nuln Oil and stuff like that from the, well, I probably made too much paint this time. From the new ones, and they seem fine. I'm not that particular. What would be the one I think that I would use that would be the equivalent for maybe Seraphim Sepia? No. I don't even see them here. Reikland Flesh Shade, no. Agrexor, is that it? Is that one of the colors? Why am I not seeing it here? Reikland Flesh Shade. There's another bottle. That's Nuln Oil. I got 2 bottles of Nuln Oil out? That doesn't seem right. But yeah, they also offered them in larger bottles. And I tend to go through shade more than I go through paints. I don't see it. I know there's another here. A Grell and Earth. See, that's a technical paint, I believe. No, it's a texture. That's the one with the sand in it. Reichland Flesh Shade, Seraphim Sepia, Nuln Oil. I think it's Agrax Earth Shade. I think that's the one I like, and I'm not seeing it here. So maybe I'm out? Boy, that would be a bummer. Again, I feel that the strong tone is similar to that one, if my recollection is correct. It kind of makes, yeah, all brands, but Pro Acryl is the one color brand I always bounce back to for washes mostly. Interesting. What washes are you using? I have all of their transparent acrylics, and I have some, like the red and the white. I use the, the bold Pyrrole red. It does not look that great when you see it in the bottle, but that's one of the things I'd like about the new paints from Vallejo, the Game Color, and the bottles are transparent. So here's an example. This is the Airbrush thinner, but look how clear that bottle is. You can really see the colors, and it's something I wish that these others would offer to get a. Now, it isn't exactly the color, right? It's what it is wet, but once it dries, it'll change the color a bit. But I just, for whatever reason, I have like reds all look like the same color to me through bottles half the time. I mean, I do know these two colors. These are the only reds I had for the longest time from Games Workshop, Citadel. And, they're different, but when you're just looking at them, I've taken the wrong color and used it plenty of times. And that's a bummer too. Those tend to be a little bit clearer bottles than the others. Looking for that Agrax. Reichland Flesh Shade, Agrax Earth Shade. So here's one of these. Have I even opened this one yet? I don't know. This one I feel is closer to this color. Although they don't look, well, this is some pigment that's not suspended. Let me just shake it up and see. I don't know if I have a shaker ball in there. But I do generally mix paints. I'm not married to one system, although I am. So I also have, I have stuff. I don't have to buy paints. I'm going to try to get through them, but I have these paints that were made by the company that made GW's paints back in the day. These were called Nitro. It's is it Swedish? Yeah, Swedish company. I believe they're still around, Cell, but they had these paints. They're made by a British company called HGM or something like that. Does it say it on here? But they made, gosh, tons of paints that I have. P3, I believe they made those. They made Coat to Arms. HMG Paints Limited. And they went to France for a while, GW, and those are the paints I first used. I mean, I used some of the old ones because they were still around. But the French company I felt made good metallics. I don't know, maybe I was just skewed because it's been so long since I used them, but I loved them. So there's the Agrax version. It looks kind of similar. Again, to who can tell, the bottles are slightly different. But they're not slightly different, the opaqueness. But I have a bunch of these. I have a good amount of Nitro. I think I bought, like this hasn't even been opened. And I think I've owned these for more than 10 years. And they're no longer making paint. They no longer have their own line of paints. But they're good. They seem fine. I just, I don't love this yellow, but I have used it plenty. It's a great color, but it doesn't, yellow's not a great color to paint with. Supposedly GW's is pretty good. Maybe I just buy that. I don't know. They do have a wash version for the colors and they're pretty nice. Okay, well, I'll have to check that out. I don't like to get too, again, it's just the availability locally. I don't mind ordering stuff online, but I want them quicker. And hilariously, well, part of it is we've been away and we're hardly home, so I want to order some stuff, but Amazon doesn't have the stuff, and Miniature Market will only have some of the stuff, so I want to order from another company, and I don't want it to be so long to get shipped to me that we're gone again. And it's been a really kind of a pain in the rear end. That's why I just really want to just buy them and have them on hand, and just get what I need. But I also am, this is another thing. I honestly feel you should buy paints. sort of as you need them. Try to use what you have, but if you have some color that you need, only buy the one instead of buying, you know, a full set. And then that way, well, number one, you can always just go with whatever color, whatever brand color suits your fancy. But additionally, you just don't get too many paints. I really understand the allure of going for the full system, but I don't, unless you think you're going to use them all the time. That's my problem. I am absolutely the kind of person that will get a color that I love and just keep using that more than anything else. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That if you have colors you like, you don't want it to maybe have some other choices on your armies or something like that. But having a giant set of colors, I mean, for example, I bought a lot of those nitros, not a lot, let's see. I have about 24 of them. And I'm not always used them. I've used most of the Citadel paints more often than the others, I would say, but yeah, BGG Con's going to be fun. We're looking forward to that spring. There are tickets still available. I don't know that there's hotel space, but if you're local to the area, you should come. It's going to be fun. We're looking forward to it. We got Mike and Nick will be coming. The good thing is Mike and Nick will still come to, they're going to probably come to the cons. They're definitely coming to both this one and the fall one, or at least that's the plan. Yeah, I wish that we had, you know, we started working with them in 2019. They basically moved out of the area not too long after that and moved to Oxnard, which is a 30-some minute drive if there's no traffic. It's more than 30 minutes, almost always. And although you can get to Santa Barbara in an hour if there's no traffic, but that's very rare. So I don't know. But yeah, they're kind of far. And then Mike had a baby, so there's just that to deal with. You know, he's being a good dad and being around. So we can't really get together as often as we would like. And we have fun with them. But yeah, I'm going to miss them. We did see Rusty, though. He has been just swamped. His work is crazy. And we had Mike Nikolov last weekend told us that he had seen him at Games Day, which is SoCal Games Day is a convention, a little daily, single day event. Happens every 2 to 3 months. Dave runs it with our friend Stephanie Bennett, and we have not gone for at least a year. I can't even remember. I think we've gone since they started back up, but maybe we haven't. It's a fun event, and a lot of, you know, supposedly like half of the attendees are new each time, so it's crazy. I'm very happy about that. It means that there's still growth and people are interested. So hopefully we'll go one of these days. But anyway, but that Rusty was there, which was great. It means he has a little bit more bandwidth. So I wrote him and asked him about coming this weekend, and he said he would do it. He'd make the time, and it was good to see him, and he seems to be doing pretty good. But I was really happy because we hadn't seen him since December. I talked to him once, but there's been some real traumatic stuff happening at work that he has had to bear the brunt of the responsibility for. You know, it's not his fault, but, you know, just folks having family health problems and stuff like that. You know, it's bad. It's the same thing with Aaron. So Aaron's really busy, and then his poor dad's not doing great. So he's taking care of his dad with his mom, and I think his brother is nearby. And, you know, it's the kind of stuff I dread. I hope, you know, of course I want my mom to be around for a long time, but I'm worried. She's getting older, and you know, it's gonna be more effort for sure, no matter what. As it is now, my mom's able to come over here and hang out with us, but at some point that's not going to be easy for her, and I'm not too excited about that. I mean, you know, I don't mind going to her place. She's got a nice house, and she's got a great cat, but that cat, that's the same with Nikki's parents' cats. They just don't, they're not acclimated, you know, for visitors really. So they both disappear. My mom's cat will sometimes come out, but mostly she gets to know us when my mom leaves town. We'll take care of the cat. Nikki loves cats, so, or animals in general. And so she will volunteer to take care of the stuff. So we have our friends, Sean, they're away right now. Sean and Maria, they have their son living with them right now. So they are, but Nikki has done some intricate care for them while they were away one time, and you know, she loved it. Aging parents, yeah, Stacy, it is hard, and I know it will be for us. Thank you, though. It is, you know, they're all hitting 70s now. Almost all my friends, their parents are in their 70s or older. Dave's mom is, I don't think I should say, but she is an amazing, like, just go, go, go. Now, I believe his grandmother lived a very long time. But when we were told the truth about his mother's age, we were stunned, because I thought she was just a little bit older than my mom. And she's just amazing. She's very active, but she is, you know, having her troubles too. His dad passed away last year, and that was hard on Dave, because, you know, he's close with his parents. He's a single kid, and he really got along with his parents. And so it's going to be a challenge. I feel very sorry for him. He's up there right now. Her birthday was last week? No. Oh yeah, last week. And I wrote to wish her a happy birthday. But yeah, it's not fun, and it's not fun thinking about it being, you know, happening. My dad has been gone for he'll be 24 years. No, 23 years this June, and it's rough. Like not being able to talk to my dad, and he was young. He was pretty young. I'm actually older than he died young, because I'm older than he was when he passed. And it's weird. It's weird not seeing him. And you know, that's the thing. I always like talking about the history with like my grandparents and stuff like that. And they're all gone now. You know, they've been gone for 15 years, I think, was maybe when the last one of my grandparents passed. It was really a bummer. My dad's side, they stuck around longer. I don't remember how old my grandmother was. Was she 80? I mean, that's a long time too, don't get me wrong, but they look okay. I like the leather. It's shinier on this one. Now I have.
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding right now. For help, go to the
very loud.
Orbi app.
That's been. I wonder why that's so loud. We had it's not working correctly. Although that I might have said something that was the call name there. I don't feel like I did. But yeah, I don't know. Nikki's parents, her mom's doing pretty good, but her dad, you know, is starting to have some troubles, and so Nikki's going to see her parents every Friday, and it's turned out to be like help her mom get some stuff done, like either around the house or go get some things or something, and you know, that's fine. But it's a downer, because you know, her mother, who, you know, worked near us, but she just, you know, it was hard for her to come visit, and so, you know, dealing with that, I don't know. It's all kind of not great. So let me do I think it's probably enough of the black, the gray there that I'm doing. So I'm gonna thin it out a little bit more and make it lighter for the ground effect stuff, and then I will, wow, there are a lot of shells on the ground. Wow. Or jackets, right? I think I'll just thin it out and then do the gold or the brass on top of that. Let's see here. One thing I do know supposedly about the Fallout is it's not following the stories from the games, so that's cool. Nikki liked Westworld, some of them anyway, and I know that Jonathan Nolan, who worked on that, is partly involved with this one, but I don't know if he's produced. I don't think he's an exec, so I don't think he's doing any show running or anything like that. But they do some cool stuff. Oh, thanks, Stacy. I'm glad you're doing it. That's the whole point. I want people to paint them. It's not that hard, and you just get better and better as you're doing it. I mean, I was not great back in the day, although I say that, but I believe my parents were like knocked out by the miniature painting that I did when I was very young. They bought, and I painted with enamel paints. I just can't even imagine that anymore. But I have definitely improved. I mean, here's an example. This is 20, it's not bad, but it's 24 years ago. Now, I feel, or 23, probably. I didn't really get to the point that I wanted, but I mean, I have a gem painted on here, so it had to have been close, but I don't think I was doing like edge highlighting at anything like that at that point in time, but it's fine, and it would look good on the playfield. Army painter, okay, that's good. Are you happy with it, Stacy? I'm sure they're fine. And again, they're around, they're available. That is, I think at our other, I keep saying we don't have places around, but then I keep mentioning another store that's nearby. There's a store nearby that carries GW and some Army Painter stuff, I believe. I don't think I'm confusing it with Vallejo, although I might be. They have a lot, you know, it's a good store, but they just don't have enough for me to get it and consistently use anything. Now, there is no problem mixing paints. Sometimes you'll get different results, like some paints go on a little bit more, you know, with a little bit more sheen, or they're very flat. I like a tiny bit of sheen, and I like to let the varnish, which I really feel you should do the rest of the heavy lifting for the amount of flatness or sheen that you want. I think I have a satin finish, and it's probably too shiny for minis in my opinion. I've used it. What I tend to do now though is I actually mix a little bit of the ultra matte and the matte, and maybe sometimes a tiny bit of satin in it to adjust the amount of sheen, because I think the ultra matte, which is amazing as far as how flat it is, it's thin. It's a thin varnish, and you kind of, it'd probably be better to put a little bit of maybe a satin or a matte, and then put that on top of it. So far I'm happy. I got a set of the speed paints. Well, there you go. They're great. The Max from Expeditions, that's awesome. Yeah, the speed paints are fantastic. Even the first run of them, there were some issues with what they call reactivation that some people didn't care for and some people did, because you could do blending and stuff like that, interestingly enough, you know, easily. I almost bought, when we were in Dallas, I think in November, and then again when we went to the Geeky Tees, I almost bought a set of the first edition speed paints to get some of the kind that would reactivate with, it was something to do with the resin, and you know, once you varnished it or let it dry enough, it didn't matter. But I balked. I was like, do I need these? My problem is I have a lot of speed paints. And like I said, I have been stretching out on the blues that I use, just to have, you know, number one, get through some of these paints, but number two, just to see what the other paints do. But yeah, speed paints are great, and Army Painter has done a fantastic job. I think they're only like 2 years into it, and both sets have been great. Nice colors, and I know that their metallics, I do have a couple bottles of those things. Their new speed metallics are really nice. Probably, they're not, you know, they're not as opaque as they could be, right? That's the point. But they remind me a little bit of what I remember the old GW metallics. Now those were thinner. The GW, I felt, did a pretty good job. And I don't think I had anything like acrylic thinner or anything like that, or airbrush thinner back in the day. I just put water in them and I felt they did a good job. Oh, so you got the 2.0. Yeah, I would like the blending too. So Stacy, that's the best way for me, in my opinion, to do the blending is more layers. So are you just doing them on a light undercoat? If you do a zenithal undercoat, you can kind of not worry about as much blending because the finish will do it for you. You know, when you paint over it, it's pretty great. But if you want to do where you change the tone, for these, I started with a lighter version of the paint, and then built it up, and then you know, also added even a darker version to do these folds. And there's like it looked like a seam in there, but it's not in the end result mini, but I wanted to have that, like the light's coming from this way type of thing. I feel this one's a little bit better done of that. But that way you can build it up and you can do blending. And if you do it while it's wet, you can do a lot of stuff. I've done color shifts. Actually, I have one right here. So this, I believe this is a mix of this brown, which is Wildwood from, is that what it's called? I think it is Wildwood. Yeah, Wildwood. So it's Wildwood was the wood parts, essentially, whatever, you know, these are some sort of elves or whatever, tree elves or something. What are they called? I don't remember. But it was that color plus, I think this is the final color, this Plague Bear Flesh, and then I think it was these three. It was this thin down. So I did understand thinning down pretty quickly. I didn't, for whatever reason, get it with flesh. Like I took a while to do the flesh. So it's these three colors. And I just did them wet, so I had them ready. These things are great, these fidget poppers. I actually bought another one, I think, from like the Dollar Tree or something like that, that was $1 or $1.25. It had a pad of paper with it, but it was a small one, which is great because it's a little bit big. But you can just have them ready, and then you just wet blended, and it turns out really nice. I did the same thing here. This was Apothecary White, and then that blue that I've been telling everybody I love, the Aethermatic Blue, and it turned out great. You can get some great results just quickly. I'm glad I have that one there. It's actually one I kind of go to. Or to go directly on the base coat, yes. So yeah, that you can do that. That's exactly correct. Do I have it? Well, this was done that way. So this one was painted entirely white. It's really kind of this color. It was a grayish color. I believe it was, I don't know if this still exists, but there was I'm sorry, out of focus. There was a spray can version of this, which was the undercoat that I used. I did not bring that home with me because I know I couldn't check it on an airplane. But I left it with Scott, and I'm sure it's been lost. And that was 5 years ago, or nearly 5 years ago. I do have their new white, but anyway, I use that, and then the shading does it for you. But if you do what this is, the zenithal is that you paint it black. I mean, you can kind of see here what's going on, how dark it is underneath. You paint it entirely black as best you can do. Then you do gray from 45-degree angle. Now you can do this, you don't even have to do that. With rattle cans, you can paint it black and then paint it white. When you paint it white, you basically want to paint it directly from above. You have a more stark transition. If you do the gray, you can do it at a 45 angle to the miniature, and then the white directly from above. Now I cheat and I do a little bit of shot of the white in the face to try to get, because you should focus on the face. That is with an airbrush. I did all this with an airbrush, and I definitely encourage people to do airbrushes, but this was done with dry brush. Now I repainted, I'm in mid repainting her face, but this was, I painted entirely black. Now I did that by hand, and then I used, I don't know if I had one of these dry brushes. I don't know if they're here. I don't see them, but dry brushes are essentially, you know, brushes that have kind of tough bristles that you get the paint. I mean, you don't even have to use a dry brush. I have absolutely not used standard brushes. You kind of want them to be stubbier than this, though, with a little bit of stiffness. But you wipe the brush till the paint is gone, as far as you can tell, but it really isn't. There's a tiny bit left, and then you quickly dry brush over it. Oh, you have a dry brush, great. You dry brush over it, then you put the color over that later once it's dried. And this one is amazing. I like how her hair turned out. Let's see, do I have another one where, oh yeah. So this was airbrushed, and this was dry brushed. Now, I was disappointed with the face. That's why I ended up deciding to try to do it again. She's very ghostly right now. But I didn't do any, I did little tricks on this where I painted her hair underneath over the gray. I painted white over it to give her, like, you know, highlights and stuff like that. This one I just did it via dry brush, and it's great. When you do, that's what they call slap chop, is when you do the dry brush undercoat. So then you paint the contrast paints on it, and it's even easier because it's already doing a bunch. Yeah, I dry brushed her with white. As a matter of fact, I dry brushed her with this white. It should be right here. Oh, here it is. Bold titanium white. Their paint is great. And it works fantastic. Dry brushing is, you know, it does really heavy lifting for your shading. And I think this looks great. I really love, this is all dry brushed. I did not put any white. Maybe did a little bit of white here. It sort of looks like I might have. But I just covered it up, right? And then I put a little bit of white. I think maybe, it does sort of look like it's dry brushed underneath there. And then put the red on top of it. But it's really great. And it's definitely more effective, I feel, than it is on black, with the black finish. But like, her hair looks really cool. And it's really fast. It's, you know, you have to practice and be prepared. So I have this stuff called LA's Totally Awesome. That's like $1 something maybe. I think I bought it at the Dollar Tree. We have one out kind of west of us. And you can strip your miniatures with this. If you really hate what you're doing, you leave it in this overnight and then clean it very, very well with water and some soap first, and then probably just water. Because you don't want any residue when you go to paint. But I don't feel you should stress it too much. You could always just paint black over it, but you tend to build up, you clog the details if you put too much paint on. Yeah, you go for the depth before you paint the color, and it does an amazing job. So I tried to do something with this one where I did it with metallics, and I airbrushed it. Boy, is that the LA's Totally Awesome leaking? It could be. Let's see here. Is it leaking? It has been laying on its side, which is not good. It does look like it's leaking a little bit. Should not be on its side, but I kicked it, I think. Ugh, I hope it's not on the floor. But yeah, then you go on with the contrast paint. It's essentially, it was slap chop before slap chop existed. I had already done undercoating on painting because I liked what it did for me, where I can determine the shading, so that when I was painting an opaque paint over it, I would do brighter, you know, and then it would basically tell me what to do for the shading. And you could do all of that with looking at photos too as well. Like, you can take pictures of Minnie and then with a light source and determine that as well. I think that this works. And then once we start, so my friend Adam, in 2020, later in 2020, we had a stream His thing is Tabletop Minions. He's great. Does streams on. You can see him on the front page of BG on Mondays in the evening and Fridays in the morning. So he'll be on tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Time, CST or CDT. But he was the. Hey, it's kind of. Hey, you're incorrect. It's really, the audio sounds terrible. Got to figure out what's up with that. Anyway, we might be able to do that audio locally. Thanks for joining me. I'm painting minis today, so it's not, it does, I think, say that I'm playing games. Hey, Tapitch, thanks for the follow. M. Taptitch. I'm working on Marvel United minis. I have so many of them, and I have more coming, and I'm almost certainly gonna back the DC, so I gotta just keep painting. But thank you for that follow. And thanks for the raid. That's Tim Real from Nerd Incorrect. We have been on the show. We have been they asked us, I think, at the end of last year, and we were just so busy. The holidays were way busier than we'd hoped. But I was doing this one, and I tried to do it with Airbrush to do the shading, and the metallics just didn't work. I had done, let me see if I can find it. I have done how many different versions of, I've done like 3 versions of Iron Man. Let me see, I'm gonna have to disconnect from hearing here, but I have in the main box some of the minis. I've been trying to put them, once I feel that they're dry enough, I've been putting them back into the box because I can't have so much stuff around, just too much. I think you can see here, but anyway, this was dry brushed. So instead of using the white, because Iron Man has that sheen, the metallic sheen, his armor, Mark whatever armor, and so I painted this one where I dry brushed. So I did these at the same time. I did Black Widow and this one at the same time. This one I dry brushed the metallic, and I am very happy. This is the one that's going in the box. It is really cool. Now, I'm not 100%, once again, for whatever reason, the faces, this was very much like this, but even worse I felt on hers. And I'm like, she's feminine, she doesn't need to look like she has 5 o'clock shadows. So I worked on that one a little bit differently. And I hand painted it, and I don't like to hand paint whites. I've been watching videos to try to do better with it. Supposedly this is some of the best white out there, and I still have problems with it. It gets chalky really quickly. The latest thing I saw, Vincent Venturell does great. He has hobby tuning videos, and he's like on number 400 and something. He said put gloss medium in the white paint a little bit, and then it helps prevent that chalkiness. Anyway, so yeah, this turned out really great, and this was literally just dry brushing with a lighter silver, and then I think I used a little bit of this metal medium on top of it, which is like a pearl color, but it's really metallic, and it's the brightest silver that I have essentially. I don't have any more mithril. I saw Army Painter has a new mithril in there. I want to check it out because this is. Do I have some mithril still? I have some old bottles that I decanted into these dropper bottles. Boy, where did I put those? I loved mithril silver. That's long gone, and I literally have a bottle that I think survived okay because they were in the old bottles that were terrible, and I believe I have it somewhere. Anyway, so these are good metallics. This is probably my favorite metallics, and Vincent Venturella was the one that told me that led me to that path. I keep looking for it. Here it is. These are bigger bottles. This is silver, and it is too dark, so there maybe an aluminum would be better. These are like meant to be like for vehicles and things like that. You don't have to use them for it. And this is an airbrush paint, so it's thinner, but I feel it's great and does a great job coating. This is an air metallic as well. I should try that one. Steel might be bright, I don't know. It is different, they're both Vallejo, but is a model, and then these are the metal colors. They're really cool, but they're more real world and not fantasy, and I like the fantasy colors. But anyway, as I said, I have some of these, the speed paint metallics, and it's a little too dark too. Mithril was like the brightest silver I loved it. and I miss it. So I need to find another one that I feel does it. And maybe I only have a couple bottles of this, and see, these are like nearly $10. But you know, it's a good amount. It's over an ounce of, which is a lot, by the way. 32 milliliters compared to, I think 17 is what most of these size bottles are. 18 milliliters on this one. I think some of the Viejos are 17. No, 18 on that one too. I thought one of these were 17. Yeah, this one's 17. So you know, you get a little less than twice as much, but it's pretty great. These are fantastic paints, but I just need to find a brighter silver. And so that metallic is the pearl, not pearl, but it's called metal medium. And a lot of paint lines have them. As a matter of fact, I kind of foolishly bought the metal medium for, because I feel it's almost identical. It seems whiter though. Maybe this is the one to use, but again, it's hard to tell. These older bottles are a little bit more transparent or translucent. Although as I said, like with the red, it doesn't really look 100% right. Anyway, but I think it's a great way to do it, and you end up getting really nice results. And this one's still fine. It's just, I mean, it looks sort of more like kind of maybe the Iron Man armor, but I love how this has turned out here. Like you have these brighter edges, this isn't the one. I still have one more of these somewhere. Oh no, this is it. I had to pin this one. He fell and it just popped right off the base. And so it's kind of messy down here in the bottom. You can see where it properly is stuck to it. And then my patch job where I actually used a piece of paper clip and poked it in there, you know, drilled a hole in with a pin vise, which is like this. Drilled a hole in, glued it, and then put it through the base as well. And it's doing a pretty good job. It looks like it could be. It's actually got a bit of a gap there. So I think the pin goes through this, but this is moving, so I think I need to put some glue in there. But yeah, these are a little more fragile than I thought they would be. And so, because they're pretty flexible plastic. These first run were a different, actually this one could potentially be a new version of the plastic, but it broke anyway. Well, that's the thing. They're a little stiffer on the new versions of this paint. Anyway, so this was the Red Skull that used, I don't know that you can tell how matte it is, but this is the Ultra Matte. I think this is it. It doesn't look quite, seems kind of shiny right there, but that could have been just the paint, like I let it pool and it didn't do it. But I really love the Ultra Matte. But I now don't go directly just with the Ultra Matte. I actually have a little bit of mix of the Ultra Matte plus the matte or the satin. Yeah, example, I was talking about coloring the base. This has, you know, some bricks and these cable conduits, you know, Romex or whatever type stuff. I picked up shiny silver to hit the mechs and dry brush highlights. I'm past the point of shading in the base coat. Yeah, you should try it on the next one. The good thing is you're doing miniatures from the games, which is great, instead of just playing with them. I mean, you know, these are blue normally, right? That's it. They look fine, but it's more fun to play with minis that are painted. When we did Marvel United the first time, I had painted the full box, and you played with them. I think, or probably I had painted all the full box. I think I wouldn't do it until we had. I kind of wanted to do the second X-Men main box, and I painted all those in advance. So those are done, sort of. I'm not real happy with Professor X, but one of these days I'll fix them up. Let me put these back. But yeah, you can get a lot of stuff done. And you can do a lot of shading with the undercoating being very bright. So yeah, one of the things I will say, this is something I sort of kind of knew, but then I was really introduced to how clear it works. Don't worry about using a bright white as a white. Using this gray actually is pretty white. And it goes on way better than straight white. Now, I would not want this on a face. I think it's too dark. But again, I haven't really tried with it. I feel gray. Maybe there is a warmer gray, the Wraithbone version of it. Do I have the paint here? Yeah, Wraithbone. That might be a little bit better for skin tone. I don't know. I have some pale flesh Had to redo the label because it just kept getting damp. And it doesn't go on smooth. The best ones I have are the, as far as white, the best one is that Pro Acryl white. I use it a lot, it's great. I just wish that there was a store closer that sold it. And I do need, I want to buy some of the new colors. They have a whole bunch of artist paint series that are paints, you know, it's like 6 bottles of paint that they helped develop the color palette of those 6 colors. It's pretty awesome. There's a few that I feel like I have to have. I think there's one Vincent Venturella. There's a red or something like that from, is it red? I actually think I want the whole set. So there's one of the former GW masterclass painters, Louise Sudgeon, they call her Suggs. She did a set, she's into painting bright colors, and she did a set of 6 colors that looked really good. They charge a little bit more for those colors because I'm sure it's because they're paying those folks out of that, which is awesome. But there's some other great colors. Let's see here. So I did do the base. It's taken a little while to dry. It's okay. And you can see here the shells are still pretty bright. So when I put the metallic on it, it'll be fine. Okay. But yeah, that looks pretty good now. I don't really have to do the gun, but I am going to work on the gun. So let's probably just get a little bit of the, I want this to be a lot lighter. That's what's really great. So I was saying earlier, I don't know why I didn't figure out the flesh tone. The flesh tone that they carry is Gilliman flesh. It's dark. But when you thin it with the contrast medium, and I'm sure there's multiple fleshes in and there are more in here than I kind of realized. I thought at first, I'm like, why don't they have more flesh? And where's the pale flesh? Well, in my brain, I hadn't put the 2 and 2 together. I figured it out for this stuff, changed the intensity, the brightness, but I was mostly blending it on the miniature. I didn't do as much. I did do some contrast medium here, but I went to the store and I was looking at their paints, and they have like a little shade from darkest to lightest, and it's using the contrast medium. I'm like, oh, I'm a knucklehead. So I went in and I did, so this is, this color thin. Now it's a darker one. Where's she at here? This one's very good, and look how pale that one is. It's the same color. And then, do I have a Koya or Shuri? Let me see here. Oh, this guy, yeah, he's okay. Adam Warlock, it's very pale. Again, this is where I used some of that gloss medium, and I feel the skin's a little, maybe I put too much gloss medium in it. This is the one I painted recently that I'm not real happy with. I don't really like the color scheme, I think. And I tried to do like they were doing on their official one, and I'm not real happy with that either. I'm always making progress. So here's let me get the other ones here. Shuri and Nick Fury. Let's see, where's Shuri? Here she is. And then Akoya. I should spot her easy. She's got that spear. Where is it? I saw it the other day. I actually pulled all this out to show Brian. And the end result is you get a great range of shades. Oh, she's right here in front of me. How knuckleheaded. Great range of shades from all of them, right? These are all the same color. I mean, not really, right? After they're done. But the skin tones are all the same. And they all look great. Let's see here. I think this is the first. I think that's the first one I did. And that was where I kind of figured out, it is the first one I did with that flesh tone like that. And it's pretty good. It's a little dark, but whatever. It looks good. But then when I realized, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. to get these colors. Look at this. These are amazing. And, you know, they're all really good. So definitely use the contrast medium or the speed paint medium. It'll help you get more, you know, I think more exciting results. So Nick had the leather jacket thing too, same thing I did. Did he just come out of that box? No, he did not. It feels like there's something on his jacket here. But yeah, the contrast medium does a really good job, and the speed paint one is the same. You definitely, I don't know what is on here, but I've just, oh, it's coming off. But you know, isn't that awesome? They're the same color, and how different they look. They're just amazing. And you can really get great results. This is the Wildwood. That is this brown color thinned out a little bit. Now, the sculpting on this hair does I've said heavy lifting a lot today, but it is exactly the truth. Does the heavy lifting, so it makes it look really amazing. Part of the problem is these are sitting out. I need to put them in the box so the dust doesn't get on them. But I'm just blown away at how good. And I mean, I think both the contrast paints and the speed paints from Army Painter will do you a great job. And you can get these kind of results. Now, all of these have been painted in the manner I'm talking about with the undercoating. And I think it's a great way to, you know, you have to potentially invest more time to get used to, and money to get used to airbrushing if you want to go that route. You can also do the rattle can, but I will tell you, spray can paints are not cheap. You can buy inexpensive ones, and they're okay. I think the ones from Krylon are not bad. I've used some of that stuff. But if you invest a little bit, so I'll show it here. I always bring this out. This is the compressor I have. It came with the hose. I did add this quick disconnect or quick connect thing that lets you add airbrushes. But this is the compressor. You recharge it. It does a pretty darn good job. It comes with an okay airbrush. If you're doing undercoating, it's probably perfect. And it's like $65. So you can get into the airbrush game without investing too much. This lasts more than an hour. I mean, I'm at 75% right now. You can't really see it here, but, or yeah, I think it's 75%. Charged with USB-C, it comes with a cable. And you can get to airbrushing for maybe 3 to 6 cans of paint. And this will last you a lot longer. You have a lot more control. And it is, if you're, the easiest and quickest way into using an airbrush is this method. The one thing that you're gonna have to be challenged with is like learning how to clean your airbrush. I will tell you right now, the airbrush that comes with it, let me just pull it out here. I have way too many airbrushes. The airbrush that comes with it is a great airbrush to get started on learning how to clean. I think this is it. No, that's not it. It's this one. I believe it came with the, it might, oh, well, you can't really tell if I don't have the. So this was the airbrush that came with it. Not surprising, it matches. Has a removable color cup. Uses rubber seals, which is not great, but this is on the outside, so you wouldn't necessarily get solvents on it. It's got a pretty nice cap that holds the paint. You can, it's not perfect. It's not a great airbrush, but it's a decent starter airbrush, and I've absolutely primed miniatures with it. You need to understand airflow, like how much pressure you want. Now, the thing is with these, you can't, wow, that is tight. I wonder if this one belonged on this one. You can't adjust the pressure with this. This is roughly the, so, and the disconnect comes, I don't know if it came with it. It came with another one, but I don't think they might have given me one of these things, because I bought another one that was like a $40 airbrush. Barbados Rex on YouTube recommends a lot of stuff. Now, it's a little noisy, and it will always be on when you're airbrushing. It'll pause when you don't. But when you clean it, the issue is it's kind of tight parts. These needles are scary. So what I would do here is you take this off, you loosen this portion here, and then you pull the needle out. Wow, it's not moving well. Let me turn this off. I'm not going to be airbrushing. I don't know if I did a good job cleaning this. Let's see here. It does not look like it. Once again, what is wrong with me? I have to clean this properly. So you should clean them. This is a mistake. I obviously had something, maybe I was doing it on a stream. This is my biggest problem. Do not do this stuff on a stream. But the issue with this airbrush is this needle is, you have to unscrew it to take it out. You can't see it. A lot of the more other modern ones, it's part of a larger, either it's a smaller or a larger assembly. I have another airbrush from Badger that has a very tiny version of this that just seats inside and uses compression to hold it in place. I am very disappointed that I messed this up. I'm gonna have to soak it for a while. And that's the only reason why I really don't like airbrushing on stream. People want to see me do it, but it's like, let me look at that. Is it really got paint on it? It does look a little dark. Now, again, according to many people, you don't have to fully clean it all the time. But I will tell you now, I feel like you have to clean it every time you use it. Even though I do the method that they claim, you know, I have a video that I've done previously, and it was kind of, this could have been when I did it. What you do to get it to clean between, eesh, I almost dropped that needle. You can buy some of the parts. So this is where we'll get to the real nitty gritty about airbrushes. These are cool. You can buy some parts, like I believe the nozzle is gettable in a standard like airbrush kit. You know, like from Amazon, because they're like, these are Chinese made and they're okay. But once you've gotten used to this and you get the cleaning practices figured out, and there's plenty of fantastic videos out there. Vincent actually has a pretty great video, and you can see his airbrushes are, you know, like paint on them, but it's clear he's using his airbrushes. So yeah, this is a bummer. I have a tool to take that nozzle off, and I think I do need to take it off. But I'm pretty certain I did backflow. So what you do, I keep starting to explain that. What you do is you have the airbrush together. We don't have the needle on here, but you lightly cover, so what they call, it's called backflow cleaning. You clean out the cup. Now you could just take this off and clean it, but you kind of want to do it while it's all fresh, so you don't want things to dry, like I did. And you put the water in there, you use a brush, you swirl it, clean it out, get the paint out of there as much as you can without spraying it directly through, right? So you do that, you pour it out, put more clean water in. I use these bottles here to squirt water in, you know, like this. And you run it around in there, keep doing it till it's pretty clean. You can tell that there's, hey, wow, it went in there, so it's gonna, maybe I should put that back on. So yeah, it comes through. No needle though. Oh, that's what's going on. I'm a knucklehead. It's basically open to the back end. No, it's okay, it's just water. But you don't want paint getting into the body here. But anyway, you do that, and then once it's pretty clean, you start going, you let the paint go forward, and then spray out. And then you use this, and you saw it squirt out. That's kind of what you're doing. It's a little probably too, let me try to do it right. Maybe I can get this cleaned up a tiny bit. Shucks, I get sidetracked. But airbrushes are not as scary as they seem, and if you have an inexpensive one, you don't have to sweat it too much. Now, when you're seating the needle back in, you just delicately push it in. You don't push too hard because you don't want to flare out the nozzle. More water. So let's just do this right. Now, paint's going to be a little thicker. You want to be careful. You don't want to have too much pressure. Now, again, this could be wrong. So yeah, you can see it bubbling in here. This is the backflow cleaning, and you just do the needle back and forth. Then you dump it out. You put some more clean stuff in there, and then you don't spray through until you know it's clean. Yeah, this is not really working, so I would say this is clogged. That is the first thing. Well, we're not seeing some bubbles that would happen just when you're using it. Anyway, water should be going through here easily, so I definitely messed it up. And it will, it'll take some time, but it's cleanable. Like I can soak the parts in alcohol or airbrush cleaner. I have this Medea. They make airbrushes from boy, I have one. What's my brain? They make airbrushes for wow, my brain is off. They're great airbrushes. Oh, there's some paint coming out, but still, it's not right. Boy, is anybody helping me here? Anyway, goodness gracious, what is the brand? I don't have a lot of them. I actually really only have one, and it's a good one. But let's get to the other thing. So this is a Chinese-made airbrush. It's cheaper now. When I bought it, I think I got it on sale for $89. This is a new company that is trying to make high-end stuff. One of the things that I really love is that this cup is very polished. So it's very simple to clean, like better than most. I'll show you another level up airbrush in a moment here. But the nozzles are way easier to deal with. Again, it's tough to clean them though. You have to get used to it. Again, pull the needle out. Now this has a neat thing where you can adjust it, do it here. Now of course I still need to, that's to do other, like really what it is you pull it back to clean it out. But anyway, I'm pull the needle out so I don't have it in here. And then, see these guys I think are using kind of a rubber. Rubber's not great. But this is the nozzle. It comes out and you can clean it relatively easily. It's not threaded on. It uses compression to hold it in place. It's got a Teflon bearing on it. So basically what I do is like this. I put it down in here, he says confidently. And then I put it in this way, either up or down, but right now since it's in there, I go down. And then I can push the needle through. The other great thing is you can also airbrush just like this with the needle poking out. Now, number one, you're probably going to bump it and bend it. These guys sell parts specifically. They're called Gallery, G-A-A-H-L-E-R-I, and they have a bunch of new airbrushes. And they have a cheaper version of this one that's actually pretty good. This one comes with, I believe, 2 cup sizes, maybe 2 nozzle sizes. I don't remember for sure. But it's a nice airbrush. But when it was $100, it was a little bit tougher sell compared to the next one I'm going to show you. But it's still great, and I love this cup, and it unscrews as well. You know, and you can clean out. You can also paint without that. You can just use a brush and put small amounts of paint in. It's a little more likely to get funky. Iwata is the name of the airbrush. I was trying to name it with an H. There's harder in Steenbeck, and I was like, it's not with an H. Iwata's nice too. They have a different. They have one with a fixed nozzle that you have to you have to get good at cleaning. You can use ultrasonic cleaners to clean this stuff out, and maybe that's what I should do on the one. The problem is that you can break the fixtures. So I bought this one. This is from Harder Steenbeck. This one was a nice one. It's I like the YouTuber. This is from boy, I'm having a heck of a time. This is done by, he's just got new ones too, other new ones as well. Swedish guy, fantastic. He's done some fun stuff. More so now, I'm not like as into like the videos where you're trying to get lots of views. I liked his actual technique stuff, and but I decided I'd buy one, and I like this airbrush a lot. The cup is not as polished. It's a little, paint will stick to it a little more, but it's not bad at all. And the really great thing is the components, like this has a protection thing, right? Some of them don't actually have, Harder Steenbeck actually have like a open design that you can pinch the needle and clean it. But their needle is similar to that one. But the neat thing is this needle assembly is the same in all of their high-end brushes. And this is the lowest of the high-end brushes. They have this one, the Evolution, and then I think they have a new, if they haven't had it come out already, they have a new Infinity. I have an Infinity. an older version of the Infinity. Not that old either, and they got a new one coming. The great thing about this airbrush is it's great for beginners. It's about $100. I mean, the regular silver one, which is the one I recommend, is about $100. Maybe 120, 115, because that's euros, and euros kind of a little bit stronger right now. But what this one does is you can't pull the trigger back to get paint. You have to push down. They're trying to teach you the proper methods. You push down and then pull. So what this is doing is it's getting the paint ready. When you push down, it means the paint will come out. Then you pull back, and that gets the air. This is called the dual action airbrush. And then that way you don't get splatter. It won't end your life if you're doing like the undercoating, but still it's good to have that. I actually did the last batch of stuff with this airbrush. And what it also does, so it does that to be able to do it. You can't pull it back without pushing. It also has this rotating ring that you can do to different settings. So if you're doing a base paint, I just tried to pull it down. You have to pull down, push down and pull. That's a base coat. This is if you're priming. And then this is wide open. You can do whatever you want. So once you get to that point, you can even just take the ring off eventually. Squidmar, boy, another one where I'm trying to make it an H. Squidmar does this. So they're giving him a little bit of money. So it was like €105, I think, at the time, or maybe 102 or something. You can't buy this one anymore. There is, I believe, one of the Evolution models, there's one that I think is silver that he is doing. Now, I will tell you now, I would not buy black again. It's harder to clean up. For whatever reason, I don't know if they're anodizing this, because it's not aluminum. They do have aluminum airbrushes, but like the paint is harder to clean. The other interesting thing about this cup is it's friction fit. So you could just put paint in here with a brush and paint. You get pretty far, especially if you're doing detail. And then this cup goes on very simply. Their higher end one, the Infinity. I'm looking forward to these because I think that they're going to have, the new ones are going to be all pretty fantastic. But I was just saying, if you use the like I have a jewelry ultrasonic cleaner, you can, with the vibration, you can develop cracks. I don't remember who was talking about that. And it basically, I mean, I've done some ultrasonic cleaning for some airbrush parts, but generally I don't do as much as I think I planned to do when I bought that one. So the quick disconnect, you just push it in, it locks, then you pull it and you can do it. So you can switch between all three of these airbrushes quickly if you were advanced enough that you were just doing the colors, right? In each one instead of cleaning it out. So what I do to clean out between the black, the white, and the gray, I start with black. I just clean it out with some water, right? I do what I said. You dump out what the paint you can. I usually have like a bucket or I use a cottage cheese container, large one, like the Costco size. And I just dump it in there and then keep doing it and get it pretty clean, then go to the gray, then do the same thing, and then do the white. And you get pretty decent results. There is another level of things you need to learn when you're using these kinds of things, but it's not that hard. And like I say, go for the inexpensive one, just so that the problem is I have a hard time recommending it, because ultimately, even though it's cool, and this it comes with it, so the compressor is the part that's ultimately, I think, the really cool portion of it. And then, again, that's $60-some. For $100, you can buy a whole kit with a larger compressor that will turn on and off, maybe. I have a air compressor from Iwata that is I should just cut to the camera angle. I have an air compressor from Iwata that, where's the mouse here? That stays on. So while you're working, it's on the whole time. They have I think mine is the Jet, or I can't remember, but then they have a next level up that actually shuts off when you're not using it. And that doesn't have a tank. And then I have a compressor over here to my side. I have a lot of compressors too, by the way. Well, not a lot, but several. This one is from Harbor Freight. It's actually pretty quiet. It's next to me. And it has a tank. So it will spray until the tank gets too low to give you the pressure that you're using. It'll turn on and then cut off and do the same, cut off and then you can do that. So it's a little quieter. I think I used it to paint on the stream and then I forgot to turn it off, and we were live streaming. I think it was the next day, or it might have been over the weekend. And and then we're in here streaming games with Nikki, and the the compressor turns on, scared the crap out of us. But there's some solutions out there. I think I haven't used the oh wow, so you've used airbrushes, Stacy. Then you've got, I mean, you should consider it. I mean, it depends on how many minis you're going to paint, right? I'm really enjoying painting. Nikki was trying to say, maybe I don't do the streaming for painting minis, and I'm like, Nikki, if I don't do the streaming, I won't paint. I have so much stuff to do, so it's actually kind of a good thing. And I like to explain to people how you can use this stuff. There's a lot that you can do, and I think you can get some great results, and it's worth doing. Especially, it's so much. I mean, you know, one of the guys I like to watch, Ninja, and he says, "Slay the gray." 100%. You don't need gray minis now. Most board games, you know, including Jamie, the Stonemeyer games, Jamie Stegmaier, you know, they have different colored, but it's going to look amazing when you play with those painted minis. So you should go for it. And others should as well. If you have the interest, that's why I think this is not a bad way to go with this. You spend, I think I got this for $59 on sale, so it does go on sale. It's hilarious. I bought this one, and then I saw on a Ninja video that he had this one, the YF Yufu. He was making fun of the name. And it still works pretty great for me. I've used it a lot. I've actually walked around outside with the compressor in my pocket and airbrush minis. And it's great. If you do it outside, you don't need to wear a mask. If you do it inside, you definitely, I don't know if you can see it by me, but right, yeah, you can partly there. That is a spray booth. There's one of those paint racks that I have. But it's a spray booth that vents outside. I have it go to the window. And it does a pretty great job. I can spray in here and not, I mean, I have real problems. So I bought a Harbor Freight airbrush at one point. I think that's what the deal was. Bought a Harbor Freight airbrush, and I wanted to try it out. It was very much like the airbrushes I grew up with when I was a preteen or a teen. My parents bought me a very nice airbrush and a compressor. I think initially they bought me, we maybe had those cans of air they used to do, which even then I hated that idea as far as use. Then I got a small compressor. Then when I was in college, I got a CO2 tank that was a good way to do that, but you had to go refill them. And it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like super easy to redo. So I still have that tank, but I don't use it. It looks like a scuba tank. And then I got back into, my mom has been wonderful. She's bought me all kinds of things. She ended up buying me that Iwata compressor. So I think you can do a lot of stuff, and it's, as you get better, I mean, you can use it for all kinds of things too. It does a great job. It does a great job that you can do other kinds of work. I've like retouched and fixed things with the airbrush, you know, like paint jobs. I've never done it on my car. I wonder how easy that would be, because you know that's well, you know, they do different stuff. I've got all the Scythe, Anachrony, Mice and Mystics, and The Godfather, to name a few. Oh wow, Stacy. Well, here's what I did. I'll show you. I did. I loved the minis from Flamecraft. You might have seen them. We actually played with them on the video. I've got this chair. It's tight. I have a box sitting next to me that should not be here. But I did the. These were actually very quick, and I'll show you the end results. They turned out really nice. So these are all the Flamecraft minis, and these turned out really great. I did zenithal highlight them, and they have been varnished, so they're not too crazy hard to deal with here, as far as you can touch them and they can bang into each other. So yeah, these are primed, and then just the colors. I mean, I think I did 2 or 3 of them on a stream, so in 2 hours time. And you know me, that's stopping and explaining things like I'm doing now. And they turned out really, really cute. And the colors are good. Very basic. I did use, you can see here, some of them are the same color, just darker versions of it. And some of them are 2 colors. So like this guy here had some yellow that I did, which I don't remember. I think I used I'm pretty certain it was before these other colors. So I think I was using this yellow thinned down, because I was like, this is orange. But once you thin it out with the contrast medium, it looked very yellow. And you know, they're way cute. They really look. This is 2 colors, so this was like the achromatic blue that I love, and then one of the blues, gray blues. But they turned out really awesome. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm explaining this stuff you guys can't see. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, sorry. So here you go. This is like the green one. Turned out great. I basically got through all of them. You guys didn't see it. Oh well. But they turned out fantastic. So yeah, this guy had a yellow belly, and then I did the red, and the wings have a little bit of yellow on them. I love the eyes. They're very large and fun and easy to paint. But they're so cool, and you know, very easy to do. Like, I love these results. See, this is the yellow mini. I basically used a yellow scheme. This one was like a pale blue or light blue, and I used the art. Sandra Tang, is that her name? I used her art as to inform the color and stuff that I was doing on them, and they turned out awesome. Anywho, so there you go. And you know, I think these are, so the regular game doesn't have, or maybe they do have them. No, they're separate. They're an add-on that you can buy, and they're available in the stores, because that's where I got these. Actually, that's not true. We were going to buy them, and then they gave them to me. One of the folks from the Cardboard Alchemy lives near-ish to us, and we've seen him at some gaming events and stuff. He brought them over for us during the pandemic. I mean, which wasn't, I think it was 2022, so it's like we met outside. And they turned out great, and they're fun. You know, there's a lot of stuff that comes with the minis in the game, and it's just, I feel they're, you know, they're close. You get the idea. The color's roughly the right color. And, you know, they're more fun than just the regular color. So yeah, I did the same. I did the whole airbrush undercoating on these two. I did the zenithal highlight like this. So they were this, and then I mean, literally, I think I painted this one, and this one, maybe in one stream, almost entirely. I think I came back and did the eyes and off stream, but you know, those are pretty simple because they're very well defined. There's actually a depression for the white of the eyes, and then it pokes out for the dark part of the eyes. And then I did a little teeny dot of light to have like a little glare. Spent a little time on the antlers, even the horns, trying to get them a little bit of shading and stuff. But again, the contrast undercoating, the zenithal means the zenith, like when the sun is at the highest point, and that kind of shading, you can see it's dark underneath and lighter on the top. That's all from the shading. It really does a great job. And then you have exactly what contrast paints do, is they settled into because these are organic, right? Smoother, when they're not as smooth as surfaces, this stuff goes on and it settles into the ridges, and it just adds even more contrast. So they're really great. So yeah, there you go. I'm sorry, Stacy, I didn't show that from the beginning. Anyway, really great stuff. It's really not hard. This one was a couple of days of painting, maybe, you know, evenings of painting, not even really days. And, you know, again, I used the same method where I just was doing the gray on the base because I want the color to be all on the miniature itself. And that looks good. I mean, this one has some stuff that oh, you can't really see it. This has like little flowers, and I may come back and actually leaves, and I might touch those up. But it's not necessary. This one I did with multiple shades, so I did it with the one color, and then I came back in and did a little bit of the dark. That's all the basilicanum gray. And I did the same thing on the wood here. Instead of just painting it wood, I put the thinned out basilicanum gray. It looks good. Anyway, I think it's after 7:30. Oh, yeah, 7:45. I feel like I need to do a better job at base coating. I understand. It's not that bad. You can, and again, you could do the same thing on these. You could do the dry brush undercoating, and they'll look good. I feel, I love the zenithal priming with the airbrush, but again, you can do it with a rattle can. You can paint it black and do as best you can, and then you can go back in and use another black. It doesn't even have to be the same paint, and you just fill in the parts that you missed, and then you dry brush it, and you just, you know, if you do it lightly and just build it up, you'll get a smoother coat and gradient, and then you come back and do like a very light on the very end, the edges. So it would make like these things on the wings like kind of stick out a little more, which might look really nice. I was just doing my traditional, let's do this with the spray can, with the airbrush. I also did when we did the Jurassic Park, so I painted some of those on the stream for Funko. Sadly, they're gone. I did one that was, I don't have that one out, but I airbrushed all of them, and then I'm like, oh wait, I want to do one that I do the dry brush highlighting. It turned out great. I chose the one that was like from Jurassic Park 3, where it was like, thanks for the raid, Defoob. I'm just finishing up my stream talking about painting minis. I did, they wanted me to paint the miniatures on a stream, and on streams, multiple streams. And so as we did the base ones in the game, and then as we unlocked new miniatures in that game, I painted those. And so I chose the one that was underwater, and it was like it was stuck in a cage or on top of the cage or whatever, and he was sinking into the water, and it just turned out great. And that was entirely with the dry brush. So it kind of looked like this kind of sketchy looking water like this did, because this is exactly the same method. And I think you get really nice results, and it's worth it. I think that I don't know, I really like the painted minis. Now, I'm facing here I mean, gotta be hundreds of minis in front of me that I need to deal with. And then there's many more. So this is all Games Workshop above me. I have so much stuff. I really cannot buy any more stuff right now. You know, too much is a problem, and I guarantee I will never get through all of them. And that's sad. I actually really, it's one of the reasons why I love miniature stuff, is I love to paint them. Anywho's, you need to do a better job at base coating. Well, you can get there, and it's worth doing, especially when you're doing just a few minis for a game. Whatever result you get is fantastic, and it's better than unpainted minis. I just think they look more exciting. There's a great stream, list or something like that on a forum post on BGG where somebody had like a cool method to do with just spray can. And I commented on it, and I was impressed. I thought they looked really good. And you know, they were like mechs or something like that, and rather large scale for some board game. And they turned out fantastic. And that's ultimately, you know, you want it to be as quick as possible so you can move on and do more. But I like doing the extended detail on them. And I went crazy and painted this guy and did quarters are clad, right? And they have copper in them. I'm like, oh, like as I'm doing it, I'm like, this should have copper in there. And I just did that, and I really like it. It's fun. It's really fun. And for me, it's relaxing. It's extremely relaxing. Anywho, let me cut again. I will be back on Tuesday morning at 10:30, streaming painting. We will be back as a game night next Thursday at this time, so 5:30 to 7:30 roughly. So my stream won't end at 12:30, but I think I have it programmed for that. For game night, I don't have it interrupted till we're theoretically done, but for this one, my stream ends on the front page of BGG at 12:30 for the R&R show, Rahdo's show with Ruel. And they start at 12, or 12 Pacific, so 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So if you want to continue watching, you can click through and watch it on Twitch, but I won't be on the front page the full time. I generally go about 2.5 hours. I am hungry today, so that is the reason why I'm kind of wrapping it up a little bit. I do need to call my mom in 10 minutes. So everybody take care. Have a great weekend. It is literally, hey, Stacy, that'd be fantastic. And thanks for chatting with me. It's awesome. No, it wasn't Stella. I have not seen what she's painted. That's awesome. I need to check it out. No, this was somebody posted. They were not it was not a game I knew. You can actually go find me. I'm Heccubus, Heccubus on BGG, and you can go into my community stuff and see that post. It's literally, I mean, it's been maybe a month or two, but I don't post that. I don't have that much time, but I saw, I think the guy's photo or something, or some post about it. I'm like, oh, let me see. And I was really impressed. It was very, very basic, but really great idea. So basically, I think they did like a base color, maybe like a brown, then a white on top of that. And then they did a shot of color for each one of them. And it really looked quite good. And it was super simple. For me, I would do that, and then I would probably paint some details by hand. That's just how I am. But you can get results, and it's not painted minis. I mean, once again, I'll go back. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be wrapping this up. But this little guy, this is from one of the Warhammer Underworlds. But look at that. This just looks great. And this was an easy paint job. I did this one in probably an hour. And you know, that looks really nice on the table. It really does. So, oops. Hopefully you get inspired to do this. I guess Stacy has been, which is awesome. And hopefully you can join me again next week. I need to clean that airbrush. Definitely clean your airbrushes. I do believe I tried to do it the way they said, but it didn't. Well, the results were not right. Take care. Have a great weekend, and everybody, you know, have some fun. It's getting warm here, so we're finally having some summer weather or spring weather. Take care, everybody. Have a good one, and thanks. So we're gonna raid somebody. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm jumping the gun here. We will raid somebody. Let me go to. I don't know what windows I've got open here. Oh, it's this one. But we won't be able to do that on Twitch. I mean, on YouTube. So Stacy and the others on there. Let's see who we got. Boy, I have this window so compressed. I don't know what's going on. It feels like the resolution changed or something. But I can't see who's to raid. Is anybody, any suggestions that people are... Oh, here we go. Paint the town red. Well, Derek has put the fear in me on this stuff, so that you kind of need to... Because, you know, we're a family-friendly stream, and sometimes you go to these streams and it's crazy. I don't know why I'm seeing what we have. East Coast, bedtime for you. Well, good for you. I'm tired. I'll be going to bed soon too. I shouldn't be going. Yeah, Stacy said Beyond Dead 13 said the same thing, that maybe it was Expedition. Those are pretty big, but I don't think so. It was not a game I knew. Here we go. We'll go to Phantom Meeple and say hello for me, everybody. Of course, I am not on the right camera here. Anyway, there we go. So let's start the raid. If you're going to go through, boy, I just said that. Where is it at? Phantom Meeple. If you want to go through, you just click through. Say hello to everybody for me, and take care. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Is it going? I say this confidently once again. There we go. Bye, everybody, and thanks to you, YouTube folks, as well. I'm glad you joined me. So now let's go to that. Bye, everybody.